Hi, I'm Trish. Just wanted to make a quick little video about, kind of off the back of the last video I made about just being so frustrated because I don't know what's going on, why I'm in pain, why I'm having trouble so much trouble eating, and I talked about a couple of x-rays I had done, and one of them looks to me possibly like my band may be slipped. Now, it may be slipped, it may not be slipped. That may be just a completely normal variation on an x-ray. And I've had a couple of people make comments about, leave it up to the medical professionals to read your x-rays and all that sort of thing. I don't claim to be a doctor or a radiologist or any kind of medical professional. I'm just a person who is really, really interested in all things medical and how bodies work and medications, all these sorts of things. So I do a lot of reading on it because it interests me. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of reading on how to read, x-rays and ultrasounds and CTs, although ultrasounds and CTs are really quite hard, but x-rays aren't too bad. And I do that because it's just interesting, but I also do it because you need to keep yourself educated enough to be able to ask the right questions and there will be times when you've really got to push and go back to your doctor and say, this isn't right, and you need evidence to back yourself up, because if you just blindly go along and just completely trust every single medical professional you see, shit's going to get missed, and I guarantee you shit will get missed. I'll give you a couple of examples, right? I'll give you two examples. My mother-in-law, many years ago when she was still alive, I think she had a fall or something, broke a bone or something. I don't remember the exact details, but she was in a rehabilitation hospital and she was on a lot of medication, and a lot of painkillers and stuff, obviously. And then she started going really loopy, she was having these really loopy hallucinations. She was absolutely terrified, saying there was this great big huge cavernous hole next to her bed, and it was like they were trying to push her into this hole, and she was just living out her days in this rehabilitation hospital, just absolutely terrified, every second of the day. And you'd go in and see her and she'd be holding onto the side of the bed so that she didn't fall into this hole. And the doctors got my father-in-law aside and said to him, look, your wife's really losing it. She's got dementia now. We're going to have to move her to the dementia ward. And I said to my father-in-law, I said, it doesn't sound right to me. But, they were just ready to give up on her. Oh, yeah, okay, she's got dementia. We'll go and put her in that dementia ward. And I said to my father-in-law, ask the doctors for a list of all the medications she's taking. So he got that and he showed me. And because I am so interested in medications and all the side effects and all the interactions and everything, I was able to look at the list and know what all the medications were. And on the list was morphine. And I know, because I've experienced this firsthand, I can't have morphine. People can hallucinate. It's very, very common for people to hallucinate on morphine. So I said to him, this is very likely what's causing her hallucinations. Go back to the doctors and ask them to take her off the morphine and put her on a different painkiller. So he did that, and I had to give him a book. I had because this was before the days of the internet where you could go and do all this research. I had a book. It was like a MIMS, with all Australian drugs in it, but it wasn't a MIMS. It was just a drug reference guide. So I highlighted all the relevant bits in that, and he took that in. And the doctors were very, very resistant, even though, he showed them in this book, this is a known side effect of morphine. But they said to him, we'll humour you. We'll take her off the morphine and we'll see what happens. So they took her off the morphine and, oh my God, she stopped having hallucinations. So if my father-in-law hadn't been really pushy with those doctors and said, I really want you to take my wife off the morphine and see what happens, she would have just been shipped off to a dementia ward to live out her days in terrible, terrible fear, because she would have just kept on having these hallucinations. She would have just been written off, and the rest of her life would have been awful for her. So, you can't just blindly trust. Another example is my daughter from when she was teeny tiny, and she'd get a lot of tummy aches and feel really sick a lot of the time. She had a lot of time off school, and I kept on taking her to the doctors and saying, look, my daughter's got a sore tummy, she's missing school, she's got this sore tummy like all the time, and it's really, really giving her grief. And they said to us that it was school tummy. That's what they actually called it, school tummy. And they said to me, she's making it up, she doesn't have a sore tummy at all, she just doesn't want to go to school. And this went on for like many years. I don't think I got it sorted out until she was about 14. And when I say she had a lot of time off school, it wasn't like a great lot of school because my daughter, she's dead set, she is a trooper, but she was having, a bit of time off school because of it. And I kept on taking her back to the doctors and saying, please, can you do something? She's genuinely got a sore tummy. No, it's just school tummy, And they refused to really do anything about it. So I thought, well, this is bullshit. I'm going to go and I've got to do my own research. So I just started like looking for stuff online, and came across a thing about being breath tested for lactose intolerance and fructose intolerance, and there was another one, but I can't remember what it was. But you can be breath tested for these three different things. I think it was two or three. And so, because I'd taken her off all dairy products because they said, it could be lactose intolerance. So I took her off dairy and stuff for a while, and she was fine with it. That didn't make any difference. So with my reading, I learned that fructose intolerance can very often be mistaken for lactose intolerance. And there's a simple breath test you can do. You don't even need a doctor's referral for it. So I organised that through one of the local hospitals, and I took her up, and she had to get tested twice, I think, and it's like $50 a pop, but, I found the money, went and had her tested, and she tested, like, off the charts for fructose intolerance. So, I got all the test results, and I went back to the doctor, and I said, look, she's fructose intolerant, this is why she's got a sore tummy, and they're like, oh, we never thought of that. Are you sure she's fructose intolerant? Yes, here's the test results that shows she's fructose intolerant. So I said to them, how do we treat this? And they said, well, she just can't have anything with fructose in it. And if you know anyone who is fructose intolerant, or you are fructose intolerant yourself, or I think they call it fructose malabsorption syndrome or something, she can't have most fruits, a lot of veggies. Ginger just about kills her. I think garlic is a problem. She can't have honey. She can't have high fructose corn syrup. So just about like any packaged food she can't have. If you ever go to the supermarket and you try to find food for a fructose intolerant person, it's a nightmare. But I went and, I did a lot of research on that as well, like all the foods that have fructose in them and all, like the hidden fructose. And we changed her diet to exclude fructose. And that poor little girl who'd had a sore tummy for 14 years suddenly had no pain anymore, no sickness, no diarrhoea, no bloating. And she just felt so much better. But it was really hard for her because her favourite food was apples. She used to eat so many apples and she just couldn't eat them anymore. So then I kept going back to the doctors and saying, I know there's no treatment, there's no cure, there's no medicine she can take, but is there anything that she can do so that she can eat foods that have fructose? Because like people who are lactose intolerant can take the lactose tablets, like the lactose enzyme tablets, and then they can have lactose. And I said, is there anything like that? Is there a tablet she can take that she can eat, that she can have when she eats fructose foods? And they said, no, there's not. And I went away and I thought, doesn't sound right. I don't think this is right. I'm going to do some more research on this. So I did. I went away and I did some very extensive research. And yes, there is a treatment for it. It doesn't work for everyone, but it works for some people depending on what sort of fructose intolerance they have. So I discovered that there are these glucose tablets that you can buy just in the chemist, even some supermarkets, I think. And you've got to work out, it's a little bit involved, but you've got to work out the ratio of fructose to glucose in different foods. And all you do is you bring the balance up so that, like, if just say a food has 10 grams of glucose and 5 grams of fructose in it. If you take 5 grams worth of glucose, it balances it out. No symptoms. So I got my daughter these tablets, and we did a bit of experimenting, and she's worked out how many tablets she needs for whatever foods. Now, she has such a varied diet. She can eat apples, she can eat, all the foods she likes. There are some foods that she'll never be able to have, like anything with high fructose corn syrup. That's poison for anyone. But it's made her be able to live a normal life. And, like the doctors have said, she shouldn't be having glucose tablets because, it's all just sugar and blah, blah, blah. But my way of thinking is that she's only having maybe 2 a day at the most, and that's not even every day. And it allows her to have a much wider variety of foods. And I'm talking about foods like fruit and vegetables in her diet. So, but like if I hadn't gone, this isn't right, it's not school tummy, that poor girl would still be she'd probably only be eating white foods now. That'd be all she'd be eating. And she'd still have a sore tummy. So, you've got to advocate for yourself. You've got to do the research yourself. If you can't do the research, get someone else to do it. And you've got to keep pushing. So that's why I am doing shit like looking at x-rays and trying to interpret them myself, because what if they're wrong? I've seen medical professionals wrong before. What if they're wrong with this? Chances are they're not. And the way that my lap band is laying is completely normal. But again, no reason for the pain I'm in and why I'm having so much trouble eating. But I will keep pushing until I get an answer, because there has got to be an answer, because it is not normal for me to be in pain. It is not normal for me to not be able to eat properly. And the treatment that I've had from that doctor at the hospital was absolutely abysmal. It's not acceptable to send someone home with that sort of bullshit dismissal. So I will keep researching. I will keep looking for answers, and not just for me, but for anything that's going on. So I just wanted to say that, I might look like some crazy person who just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, but sometimes you have to. And that's it. I'm actually going to go off to my GP now and see if I can get any further with this, see if I can get some answers. So that's it. That's it for now.